When they return to their classroom, they wonder if they will eventually face such a monstrous threat. Shindo mentions she has tennis practice, points out that time hasn't moved since their departure, and thanks Yusuke for his efforts. She predicts it will be about 2 weeks before their next mission and exits, advising Yusuke to reflect on why he was chosen to protect a city he despises. At that moment, Yusuke receives a call from the game master instructing him to flirt with a girl he will be informed about and then go to a specific school's restroom. At the school, Yusuke finds 3 girls bullying a girl with glasses. He attempts to flirt with her but realizes it's not the right time and decides to intervene. He destroys the bullies' phones and flushes them down the toilet, causing the bullies to flee. Afterward, Yusuke escorts the girl to the bus station and asks why she was targeted. She reveals that she is a streamer who criticized one of the bullies for pretending to be different to attract boys, which led to her being bullied in retaliation. She cries, saying she never named the girl, so she didn't deserve this. Yusuke, however, is unsympathetic to her first-world problems. She then tells him about her favorite game, and Yusuke spends the next 2 weeks playing it. Once their time is up, they all get teleported to the other world and meet again. However, this time the blue-haired girl is also there, and the game master appears behind her, introducing her as the 4th player, Yusuke. He spins the wheel for her, and it lands on Heat Mage. He then starts explaining their next quest. The revival counter will be increased from 30 seconds to 40 seconds, and they must traverse 5% of the map and deliver the goods to Red Odoro within 40 days. He then leaves as quickly as he arrived, leaving them without any answers. Yusuke approaches Yusuke to offer help, but she calls him an ugly stalker and tells the other girls that he followed her home one night, broke some girls' cell phones at their school, and flushed them down the toilet. The girls start to view him as a creep and keep their distance without giving him a chance to explain. They begin exploring the map in all directions to cover 5% of it as quickly as possible. They split up, and while walking around, Shindo talks to Yusuke and clears up the misunderstanding about Yusuke. Yusuke reveals that she always tried to act reserved to avoid bullying and used Yusuke as a common enemy to make up with her bullies. Shindo understands and promises to always stop bullying when she sees it. Yusuke thinks Shindo is really cool and starts to idolize her. Later, they regroup outside the forest, and suddenly a massive dead bug falls from the sky behind Yusuke. At that moment, a female centipede monster emerges from its skull with male pill bugs attached to it. It throws the pill bugs at them, instantly one-shotting Yusuke and Shindo. Yusuke decides to take charge, thinking she's a strong mage, but quickly realizes she's as useful as a hot water bottle. She gets hit by a pill bug and is also one-shot. Meanwhile, Yusuke comes back to life and wonders why he's being treated like a loser. Reflecting on this gives him the courage to catch a pill bug, slice it up with his knife, and throw it back to punch another pill bug to the ground. He starts taking them down one by one and eventually climbs onto the centipede's back, where it can't hit him with its stinger. He considers how to disable the disgusting creature and begins slicing off its legs one by one, turning it into a miserable worm. In a moment of introspection, he asks Hakazaki why she belonged to an infamous family and never had friends, but eventually had one, a girl named Sei. One day, Sei died, and at her funeral, Shino's father told her to be beautiful and healthy or end up like Sei. She wakes from this horrible dream and finds Yusuke lifting some rocks, working on his wrist packs. They sit down together and talk for a while. During their conversation, Shindo grabs his hands and begs for his help. She shares that when she was little, she befriended an older girl named Sei, who was bullied for being ugly and eventually decided to isekai herself to another world. Shindo is the daughter of an infamous biker gang member, and when she entered middle school, she knew it was her turn to be targeted. However, she was grateful for the friends who stood up for her and soon realized her friends were her strength. She grew up to be a bold, beautiful girl who took control of her life. But one day, she was teleported to this world alone and was told that if all her party members died, it would be the end for them for real. As she was the only one present for the first mission, she had to be extremely careful. She looks at Yusuke and asks him to lend her his strength in this world where she doesn't have many friends, pleading for his help. The next morning, they head to the village they had saved from the troll, only to find it in ruins. Soon, a man rides by with his cart and reveals that it has been over 5 years since the village was deserted. Realizing that time flows differently between the two worlds, they ask him about Redodoro, and he shows them the location on a map, revealing that it will take about 30 days to reach it on horseback. They ask if he can lend them his horses, but he tells them to try begging somewhere else and informs them about an upcoming martial arts tournament in a nearby town. The prize for the winner is 3 horses, and they decide this must be their first step in completing the quest. They start walking towards the town, but on the way, they are ambushed by a gang of bandits. Yusuke strikes one of them but discovers that hurting humans in this world results in leveling down penalties, so they decide to flee. Later, they notice that Shindo has been captured and decide to rescue her, but Yusuke suggests they should focus on the mission. They decide to split into 2 groups. Yusuke will fight some goblins to level up and enter the city to participate in the tournament, while Hakazaki and Yusuke will attempt to help Shindo, resulting in their capture as well. Yusuke's new role is a creature wizard, and 5 days pass. Although he manages to balance things out by losing the tournament pathetically in 5 seconds to a girl named Kahabel, he tries to negotiate with her, explaining that he desperately needs to get to Redodoro quickly. He asks if there is any work he can do, and she agrees to help him in exchange for taking care of the bandits and their hideout. They have half a day, so Kahabel suggests she give him some sword lessons. She completely schools him, reminding him of his dismal school days when he always underperformed in sports involving balls and swinging objects. Eventually, they ride with the knights to the hideout to rescue his friends. Yusuke manages to save everyone and notices that Kahabel is a sword enthusiast who loves cutting everything in sight. Together, they defeat a berserker and capture all the bandits. At the end, Kahabel suggests that they let her escort them as far as she can, camping with some of her minions along the way. In exchange, Yusuke agrees to give her his horse upon arrival, and the other condition is that all 4 of them will let her train them with swords. They all agree and begin their journey toward Redodoro with their new companion. On their way, Hakazaki reflects on the violence she has just witnessed at the hands of the knights. With a noble dream of saving lives by joining Big Pharma, she feels saddened by the dead, even if they are monsters or bandits. While she broods and feels sorry for herself, Yusuke enjoys the trip, gaining free XP by healing others and cooking for everyone. Thanks to these special roles, he's the only one on the team who can level up without having to fight and kill monsters. Additionally, Kahabel takes turns playing Fruit Ninja with them as part of sword training. They also get to fight some goblins, and Hakazaki manages to slay one on her own, although this earns her some PTSD points. 20 days later, with only 15 days and a few hours left before the deadline, they spot a cart being attacked by monsters in the distance. Yusuke says they don't have much time to waste on random NPCs and side quests, but Hakazaki, being the noble knight she is, insists that there's no point in completing the quest if it means letting people die. Yusuke, trying hard to hide his smile, tells her that it's okay and she can risk herself if she wants it that much. Besides, it could be an important step toward completing the main quest, just like the tournament was. Eventually, they decide to split into 2 groups. Yusuke and Hakazaki team up with the soldiers to complete the side quest, while the others continue toward Redodoro. Yusuke jumps onto a raptor with Hakazaki, and they charge straight at the kobolds. Yusuke confronts one of them, but gets defeated by another. Hakazaki tries to break her fastest death record by being one-shot instantly. The fight continues for a while as Hakazaki revives and decides to fight back. She manages to slay one of the kobolds by summoning her heavy longsword at the last moment, surprising the monster with a decisive strike. Soon, Yusuke gets back up and lures the remaining kobold toward their cart, allowing Kahabel to finish it off. Afterward, they count 6 survivors. They ask who they are and what they were doing there. Their leader reveals that they are soldiers from the Kingdom of D, transporting these nonconformists, including a child, to Redodoro. These people follow a foreign religion called Aros, which has been banned in the kingdom. According to the king's orders, they are to be publicly executed in Redodoro, known for having the highest number of secret Aros followers. Upon learning this, they wonder if this might be part of the main quest since they still don't know what the goods in the quest refer to. It's possible that these people are the goods. If they help the soldiers transport the heretics, it would mean assisting in the execution of 2 men and a child.